We think farming was humanity's greatest idea, but it came with a price we're still paying today: disease, inequality, and hard labor. Picture this: our ancestors roaming the plains, hunting mammoths, and gathering berries. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Well, about 12,000 years ago, someone had a brilliant idea that would change everything. Hey, what if we grew our own food instead of chasing it? Little did they know, this seemingly innocent thought would lead to one of the most significant revolutions in human history, and not necessarily for the better. Welcome to the Neolithic Revolution, folks. It's the story of how we went from free-spirited hunter-gatherers to farmers. And let me tell you, it's not all sunshine and domesticated roses. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, isn't farming a good thing? We get to have avocado toast and pumpkin spice lattes. Sure, those are some perks, but let's dig a little deeper into this agricultural adventure. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors had it pretty good. They moved with the seasons, followed the herds, and enjoyed a diverse diet. They worked maybe 15 to 20 hours a week. The rest? Pure leisure time. Imagine having that much free time today, you'd probably become a TikTok sensation. But then came agriculture. Suddenly, we're tied to the land, working from dawn to dusk, 7 days a week. No more wandering, no more variety. Just you, your wheat field, and the constant fear of crop failure. Talk about a lifestyle downgrade. But here's where it gets really interesting. The shift to farming didn't just change our daily routine. It fundamentally altered our relationship with the natural world and each other. We started to see plants and animals not as fellow inhabitants of the earth, but as resources to be controlled and exploited. Take the humble cow, for example. Once a majestic wild aurochs roaming free, now reduced to a docile milk machine, or wheat, once a wild grass, now a needy crop demanding constant attention. We bent nature to our will, and in doing so, we bent ourselves. The consequences? Where do we start? First off, disease. Living in close quarters with our newly domesticated animal friends? Not the best idea. Zoonotic diseases became a thing. Smallpox, measles. Flew all gifts from our furry farmyard companions. Then there's the issue of diet. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors enjoyed a varied menu of lean meats, fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Fast forward to farming, and suddenly we're living on gruel. Literally. A monotonous diet of grains led to nutritional deficiencies and a host of health problems. Who knew that too much bread could be bad for you? At least we all do now. But wait, there's more. Remember that leisure time our ancestors enjoyed? Kiss that goodbye. Farming is hard work, folks. It's not just planting seeds and waiting for magic to happen. It's backbreaking labor from sunup to sundown. And the irony? Despite all this hard work, early farmers were often less well-fed than their hunter-gatherer predecessors. Talk about a raw deal. Now, let's talk about something really fun: social inequality. In hunter-gatherer societies, resources were generally shared. Everyone contributed, everyone benefited. But with farming came the concept of surplus, and with surplus came hoarding. Suddenly, some people had more than others. And thus, the seeds of social stratification were sown. We went from relatively egalitarian societies to hierarchies with elites at the top and everyone else at the bottom. Kings, priests, warriors, all these fancy titles emerged because someone figured out how to store grain and convince others to give them some. It's like the world's first pyramid scheme, but with actual pyramids. And let's not forget about gender roles. In hunter-gatherer societies, men and women often had equal status. But with agriculture, women's roles became more restricted. They were often relegated to domestic tasks while men took charge of the fields and livestock. It's like we took a giant leap backward in terms of gender equality. But surely, you might say, all this farming must have been good for population growth, right? Well, you're not wrong. The ability to produce and store food surpluses did lead to population booms. But here's the kicker: more people meant more mouths to feed, which meant more farming, which meant more people. It's a vicious cycle that we're still caught in today. And let's talk about our impact on the environment. Hunter-gatherers lived relatively lightly on the land. But farmers? We're like a bull in nature's china shop. We clear forests, divert rivers, and generally reshape the landscape to suit our agricultural needs. It is no coincidence that the start of agriculture aligns pretty closely with the beginning of human-induced climate change. Now, I know what you're thinking. But we have iPhones and Netflix now. Surely it was all worth it? And you're not entirely wrong. The Neolithic Revolution did set us on the path to modern civilization. Without it, we wouldn't have cities, writing, or complex technologies. We probably wouldn't be making snarky YouTube videos about it either. But here's the thing: progress isn't always linear, and it often comes at a cost. The Neolithic Revolution solved some problems but created a whole host of new ones. Problems that we're still grappling with today. Think about it. Obesity epidemics from processed foods? That's agriculture. Climate change from intensive farming practices? Agriculture again. Social inequality? You guessed it, rooted in the surplus mentality that came with agriculture. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Are we doomed? Should we all abandon our farms and return to a hunter-gatherer lifestyle? Well, unless you fancy chasing down your dinner with a spear, probably not. But perhaps there are lessons we can learn from our pre-agricultural past. Maybe we need to rethink our relationship with food, with nature, with each other. Maybe we need to find a balance between the innovations that have improved our lives and the wisdom of our ancestors who lived in harmony with the natural world. The Neolithic Revolution was indeed a pivotal moment in human history. It set us on a path that led to incredible achievements, but also to unprecedented challenges. As we face the consequences of this ancient choice, from climate change to social inequality, perhaps it is time to reevaluate our course. So the next time you bite into that avocado toast or sip that pumpkin spice latte, take a moment to reflect. Remember that your ability to enjoy these modern luxuries comes from a decision made 12,000 years ago, a decision that changed everything, for better and for worse. In the end, the story of the Neolithic Revolution is our story. It's a tale of human ingenuity, of unintended consequences, of triumph and struggle. And as we continue to shape our world and our future, it's a story we do well to remember. Because sometimes looking back is the best way to move forward. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to appreciate my hunter-gatherer ancestors by taking a nice, long nap. After all, that's what they would have done.